Welcome to number 4 in the Lit Within Pro Performance series, where we're talking about resilience. This is really your trump card in the deck and often overlooked, Lewis, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a real key attribute of the 11. Out of all of them, I'd probably say it's the most important and kind of the most valuable to have up your sleeve. So let's start, Michael, with exactly what is resilience.
Well, essentially, it's your bounce back ability. Your ability to be able to not be deterred by down times or any negativity around you or things that might set you back in some way. Often they can be the minor things that kind of derail you from your greater ambition of aspiration, where you're not stepping up on a day-to-day basis, fundamentally because of how you think or perceive about a situation.
Definitely. So it's that adversity piece where you're having, maybe a tough time in training, you can't get in the team, or you have had setbacks in your career, and it's being able to see a bigger picture there, to see that you've got what it takes, and kind of whatever happens, you're going to be able to give your best and be free to do that. So I think that out of all the attributes, this is definitely the most key. It applies to things like injury, being resilient while you're injured. It's always gonna help you to get back very quickly without too many problems.
Oh
I,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a foundation almost of everything that gives you performance, because there will be setbacks, there will be bad news, as it were. There will be times you're not picked, or you can't play because of injury, or something else is going on. That's preventing
Transfers and
you. Yeah,
contracts and all those
contracts
things.
even not being signed, going right to the wire. Even
Yeah,
how
yeah,
many guys have been impacted by that? Your frayed nerves almost. And managing all of that,
yeah.
and that can cause in the interim, obviously, a real problem in terms of how you show up.
Yeah, definitely. So it covers every area from life after sport
Yeah.
to, but right now we're just going to focus solely on the performance aspect on the pitch. If you have a player, let's give an example. Let's take someone like Antoine Greizmann, who as a young player, he was a schoolboy going to get trials with his dad, and he suffered setback after setback after
Oh,
setback from a host of clubs, didn't he, Michael? So I think that's a real good example. Somebody who ended up being in the French team, winning a World Cup, um, and playing for a top European side, that he had to be supremely resilient at that phase in his career to get the fruitful career that he's now got, Michael. So
oh, absolutely. I mean, he was so downtrodden that even when the scout gave him the card to say, "Give me a call, I'm interested," from Real Sociedad, wasn't it?
Sociedad, yeah, yeah,
Sociedad, yeah. So when he got that, he was even thought it was a joke. He
yeah,
couldn't believe it. He thought it was some kind of trick, because he had this perception that his luck was down. Things weren't going right. So when he got that opportunity, even that didn't kind of ring true for him.
yeah, definitely. And I think we've seen it with players. If you take someone like Jamie Vardy, he's come from non-league and worked his way all the way up. And you don't get there if you
Yeah,
haven't got resilience. If you're not able to take the knocks, the bumps that come with being a professional athlete. The criticism from outside. The media, or the criticism from teammates, the fallouts with teammates, and it's just being able to see. This has all happened. It's in the past. This is still something I really enjoy doing. This is something I'm really passionate about. And this is not going to stop me making the progression. It's not going to stop me from going out there the next day. So I think another key element, Michael, is players that are stopped by this. They might fear fear the next game. They might fear the next training session, and then that overwhelmed that they don't go
yeah,
out
yeah,
there and immerse themselves in the game like they can. They don't reach that top level of
yeah, yeah.
performance that they're capable of. So it's just seeing those feelings, fear or nervousness, maybe pre-game.
Well, it's a brilliant point, Lewis, because I mean, to take a different sporting angle on it, it's something like in golf they talk about it, a player shot at a time, of course, is the mantra.
Yeah,
Another way of saying be in the moment, whatever it is. But how often is it that you have a bad shot or things just go awful, one stroke, but you live with that for the rest of the round for some
yeah,
people. Never mind get over it by the time you get to the green. So you're often, completely derailed around a good, otherwise good round. Things are going well to that point, completely derailed for one shot. It doesn't make sense. Out of the 60 odd that you might play that day, it's one shot literally has wrecked your card, and that's what people talk about. And the same can happen, in whatever the context is. But I think that carrying that through into the next 5 minutes of play or whatever happens, it's something that we innocently do, but it's hugely damaging to your performance.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that, athletes would all like to be, in the zone, as you call it, when they go out there every Saturday. And whether they're going on the racetrack, they're going to, on the course, they're going on the pitch, whatever it is. In an ideal world, we all would prefer to be in that zone. We would prefer to have no kind of resistance going on in our mind. But we all know that resilience is being able to perform at your top level, even when you're not quite in that zone, as it were. You've got things coming into your mind, fearful projections of what might happen, fearful projections of what happened in the past. So resilience is really, really key, because we can't just switch off how we think, how we feel. We've got to become more than that. We've got to become bigger than that, that we can go out there and perform in our top level, even with criticism, fear of failure, all these things. And that's why resilience is such a key factor.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the bedrock of performance, really. It's being able to, people say you often judge by your strengths when you're in troubled times. It's easy to be playing well and everything's going great. The wind's at your back. It's all good. You can't put a foot wrong, seemingly. It's really good. But that maybe doesn't demonstrate your character, your strength, your inner determination, if you like, and desire to perform at your best. That hunger and that amount of passion and how much you care for it. That comes through the more that you're able to rely on your own inner resilience and showing up to want to just get the job done.
Definitely. And we've seen it in all different types of sports. You've had people like Andy Murray. They've kind of been that resilient. They've made it from, going to finals and not seeming like it was possible to win a final, and eventually bursting through and breaking that kind of everyone else out there. You can't rely on their opinion is another important fact, I think, because you might have somebody who says, like with Greizmann, you're not good enough. You're too weak. You're too small. You're too fat. You're too slow. You're too this. You're too that. There can be 100 reasons why you are not going to become the player that you need to be to perform at that level, or to take or maintain your performance.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, a lot of players use that as a motivator, even, don't they? There's some, on the other hand, that welcome that criticism because they want to do that. I told you so. Or I'm going to prove you wrong is the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So they're using that to give them added drive or added impetus in what they're doing. So through this, we're going to be talking a whole lot more about this subject because it really is so important. So we want to try and give you a little bit of a flavour in this short series for where we're coming from. But you get this right, and you've really put that key cornerstone in place to really build something quite incredible in terms of your career in its scale and achievement.
Definitely. And I think at Lit Within, we're all about cultivating resilience in players, in everyone that we work with, in